We're back. We're back. You're back.
I'm back.
I flew solo. It was nice. I have experience flying solo. It was the Classic Masturbator podcast.
I got drunk and fell asleep, so I want to apologize to both of our listeners.
All three of them?
Yeah. All three of them. Yeah, all three of them. Yeah.
Well,
me, you, and my mom. Yeah.
And don't forget my sister who does all the time.
And your sister, that's right.
Who's really mad that we're doing just sports now because she's like, I want to be on. I'm like, Simone, you can be on.
Come on whenever you want.
She's not a big sports fan, but she's a big fan. She's a supporter.
It would be an honor to speak to one of our fans. But yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah, let me just give you the rundown of where I was at. I went in on VAR again after the Bamford pointing offside, after 2 handballs that were kicked into people's arms, including one that this is how much I hate VAR and how stupid it is.
You benefited from it and you still hated it.
I should have won a game, and I'm glad that Kevin De Bruyne missed. I was like, you know what? Good. The one the one in the Wolves game, in the Leicester Wolves game, did you see it?
Yes.
That was morally reprehensible. It represents everything that is evil. It is worse than being virtuous and thinking you know everything. Again, I'm comparing VAR and the implementation of all replay in sports to the terror by Robespierre in the French Revolution, because he started cutting off people's heads because he believed that man was naturally virtuous, and that he's only corrupted by the aristocracy and things that whatever. If we could just get it right, then sport would be perfect. It is the fucking French Revolution of sport. I've had it. VAR out.
VAR out. So wait, who is the aristocracy in the Premier League?
The aristocracy in the Premier League is Manchester United, Liverpool, and Arsenal.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Spurs are like knights.
I was gonna say,
of shitty swampland.
Where do Leicester, Wolves, and Spurs kind of fall in, right?
Oh, they're nouveau riche. They're bourgeoisie. They're like
they're not
right. They're factory owners, right? Yeah. They're the guys. Oh, you don't have land. You don't know how to play polo. They just have factories. Look at you living in a house with people.
Mourinho's the guy who works in the factory, and 3 of his fingers have been cut off.
Yes, but he's leading the union, and he's ruining everything. But then he corrupts it from the inside. This is a good rant, by the way. If we went on a geopolitical serfdom of sport, this is perfect. This is my kind of thing. I love this shit.
It's the fucking international break again, by the way. So
I know.
Why not? Yeah.
Also, another thing that happened. Well, that was my big rant. I don't even know what happened in the games. It was 1-1 Liverpool. People liked it. People didn't like it.
Well, people liked half of it, right?
Yeah.
So my thing is, one of the big crusades in the Premier League so far in the last week or so has been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer coming out and saying the schedule was against us. Own, and by the way, there's years of evidence that says the English FA does not take care of its own biggest clubs who compete on both in domestic fronts and on European fronts. When Spurs had to play Ajax in the semifinal, the entire Dutch league stopped playing so Ajax could get a rest. Spurs had to play 2 games that week.
Yeah, but here's the reason for that when you really break it down, right? In those countries, the leagues are so small that the big clubs literally run the league.
Well, and they need them, right? If they get more value, right? If Ajax makes a run, then all of a sudden people start paying more attention to the Dutch league.
England is the only league, and it's partially why they want to break away in some sense. England is the only league where the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, right? Yes. It's the only league where there are 6 teams that could form a cartel. Do you think there's 6 teams in La Liga that the La Liga cares about? No, there's 2,
mm-hmm.
right?
3.
No, there's 2, and one of them sucked most of the time. So it's Real Madrid's league, and it's only been in the last 20 years, and it's only because of Messi that Barcelona has become important. Like, I think people don't realize this, like especially up-and-coming, relatively new Messi fan from the FIFA era. Barcelona never won anything until Messi. Like, they had 1 European Cup under Cruyff. They won La Liga, a handful of times. They're losers until recently. I'm serious. They're
That's the
like
headline.
Arsenal.
No, that's the headline.
No, but
for this
they're
episode.
like Arsenal.
Barcelona are losers.
No, but up until Messi got there, they were Arsenal.
Yeah.
Right? Good, no European pedigree, nothing, never won anything in Europe. Arsenal have won like a Cup Winners' Cup. They're not an international team. They're a big English team. Barcelona are a big Spanish team who are the foil of Real Madrid, but they're like, they're the Red Sox to the Yankees. Like, yeah, you guys won some championships. That's a perfect example. Barcelona are the Red Sox.
Oh, I started to like Barcelona too. That sucks.
Right. Anyway,
no,
I don't know where
but
I'm
anyway,
going.
But I think what happened, right, is
the schedule stuff. Go ahead.
The scheduling stuff where you've had 4 or 5 managers come out vehemently angry that their players have been playing either a Wednesday and then a Saturday, or in Spurs and Arsenal's case, a Thursday and a Sunday, and the earlier games in the day at that, right? So
they don't give a shit.
Man United had to play the 12:30 kickoff local time for them, and Spurs had to play the noon kickoff on Sunday. And so what their argument is, very simply, if at very least these TV networks, you have to give us a little bit of pull here, go further on in the day, give us that extra 8 hours or 5 hours, whatever it is. The thing that they don't understand, and the reason that we have so much of a depth of a table, no, they don't, right? Because BT Sport and Sky Sports are paying hundreds of millions of pounds to make these fucking teams go, right? It's not just them. It's making the league in total. It's rising the tide, right? So everybody is benefiting from this. So now you've got 2 things, that specifically. And the other thing is, we talked about this very,
How about
very
the managers
on.
don't play their players all the time?
Well, right, exactly.
Like,
we talked about
what
this
are you
early on
doing?
about how one of the main reasons that Project Big Picture was a thing is because players were getting so tired. Like, they didn't have the 5 subs this year, and the big teams got really fucking mad about that, right?
They really did.
Guess what? Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp came out both after that 1-1 draw, and they said, this is bullshit. In everywhere else in Europe, they kept the 5 sub rule, which is true, and in Champions League and Europa League, it's true. Guess how many subs Liverpool and City both made in that game?
3.
2.
Total. 2, exactly. Well, their rationale was they were afraid to make changes because they didn't want to fuck up the
Well, then you can't bitch and moan about not having enough changes if you didn't make the amount that you were already doing.
Yeah, the thing that's really interesting is like it's the mix. This wouldn't be a problem in American sports, right? The guys just wouldn't play, right? Because it's so hyper competitive, you really can't drop games. So like the squad depth, like you can't toss a game, right?
Because there's they're not basically playing for a playoff spot, right?
Right.
They're playing for the league.
Right.
And I
all
get
the time, right? Like, so that's the thing, right? But if you're City and Liverpool and Manchester United and whatever, that's on you.
Yeah.
You have the money. You have an uncapped league with no salary cap, with no roster cap. What the fuck are you doing with the money?
Well, that's kind of
what the fuck are you doing with your players? Like, play the babies. What are you doing? You're worried that guys are going to get hurt? Don't play.
Isn't it kind of ironic that the 2 teams bitching about this are the 2 deepest teams, arguably in Europe? Right?
Yeah,
like,
ridiculous.
Manchester City takes players on their B team that would start on 15 of the 20 Premier League teams. And Liverpool's no different. Right. Liverpool literally is complaining about should they play Diogo Jota or Roberto Firmino because one of them's in great form right now. Oh my God, they ended up playing all 4
now,
up front.
The thing that sucks is that the coaches are being proven right? Like, so guys are going down like flies, right? So you got Van Dijk, we have Gomez now. Ake went down. Like, guys are dropping like flies. But then Pep Guardiola has his 2 shall we say friends that he plays every game because they're built of steel. Raheem Sterling plays every game. Kyle Walker plays every game, nonstop.
Can we just recognize for a second though? Is this year injury wise the exception to the rule, or are they just name brands? Right? Like,
I don't know. That's a good question. Well, I mean, like even the Centurion City season, I don't think Kevin De Bruyne played half the games. He was hurt all the time.
Right. Exactly. He's been hurt this year.
Laporte,
everybody made a big stink about that.
Yeah.
Players get hurt.
Company would get hurt all the time. Any season. Right. Exactly.
And especially at international duty. And it always makes people's heads spin, as it should.
Because it's fucking stupid.
It's fucking ridiculous. Imagine your best player playing in an irrelevant game.
Yeah.
Against he's traveling from London to California to play in an Argentina versus Mexico game.
Yeah.
And not your best player, your big signing, right?
Yeah.
And he
gets
pulls
hurt.
his hamstring and he's out for fucking 6 weeks. He's just getting used to being in the team at this point in the season. And he's out for that's gonna derail this whole year. Hello, Giovanni Lo Celso. How are you?
Yeah, I don't. Oh, that happened.
That happened. That's part of the reason Poch got fired. Which, by the way, it's been 1 year. R.I.P. I love him.
Yeah, and I do listen. I have sympathy for the players. I get it. Like on an individual basis, we've talked about it a couple times. The themes of like, hey, these dudes are dudes, right? They're in COVID. They're playing. They're working. They've got like. Just think about it this way. It'd be like if you normally work 40 hours a week, and for this year you got to work 60. That's really where it is, right? Because we got to hit the quote, we got to hit our number, and these guys paid us for this project. We took 3 months off. I lost Mike. I'm sure he'll jump back in. But yeah, it's still like that, and I think if we keep pushing that along. We'll get Mike back in a second. Hey, we're back. We had a little bit of a mishap, but we were chatting about just international break, players getting injured, where they are, where they're going, how insane it is, working a 60-hour week instead of a 40-hour week just to meet the contract of someone that got sent to you. But that's kind of crazy. Why are they playing? Because we're on international break. What are they breaking for? I don't fucking know, but people are qualifying for the Euros, and there's only one piece of news that happened. Well, two. One, Scotland has made it to the Euros. It's an expanded Euros. I think there's an extra 20 teams. That for the first time since 1998, they will be in the Euros that's spread across Eastern Europe and Germany, I think. So that's a big deal for them. They beat two teams in the playoffs, both on penalties. They are crap. But they beat Serbia, who have name brand players. They have Jovic, they have Mitrovic, they have Tadic. Serbia should not be losing to Scotland ever. And someone in Serbia will probably be killed because of that, because it's Serbia. And they'll probably do some ethnic cleansing, throw someone off a bridge, and then like put so much lye on the body that it decomposes and you never know who it is. And when they try and exhume the body, they won't know who it is, because that's the kind of stuff that happened in the 90s. That's real. Look it up. You don't want to know. But
it still happens. It still happens.
Yeah.
All the fucking time.
And then a bunch of other countries that we'll talk about the Euros one day, but Hungary and blah, 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 and country X and country Y. Also, the U.S. men's national team played their first game in almost 8 months. 8 months, 250 days. And, of course, to a rousing draw versus Wales without Gareth Bale. So when you draw with Wales without Gareth Bale, you suck.
Can we talk about that for a second? Because
I didn't watch
this. Well, I didn't either. But this is an important moment for the U.S. men's national team, nonetheless.
Yes.
Despite the fact that Christian Pulisic was out with an injury, and
which is going to be his name for the rest of his life.
Yeah, that's right. The U.S. men's national team, from what I understand, and I could be wrong, I did not look this up, they at least played a majority side that did not have MLS players.
Yes, legit.
That's a big fucking deal.
Was the only one, I think.
Okay, so sure, right? So that's a big deal, right? Now these kids are coming through the ranks. Gio Reyna, the Weston McKennie.
So it was Brooks, Miazga. I don't know who Anthony Robinson is. I think he's the young guy at Barca. Dest, who's at Barca. Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie. These are name brands. This guy's at Juventus. This guy's at Red Bull, right?
Yeah.
So legit to bum. Again, the strike force is poor. I don't know who Conrad De La Fuente is, which is pretty sad. But Gio Reyna played up front with Tim Weah coming in.
He's fucking good.
He's legit good.
This is not your father's U.S. men's national team. And
they're actually exciting. Legit. Oh, Conrad De La Fuente. He's the guy who's at Barca. Oh, good. A B.
Okay.
Exactly.
Fucking Red Sox, right? No, I mean, exactly. Listen, these kids are they're ignoring the traditional U.S. Collegiate system to get a free education and get into MLS and just have a nice little career and whatever. The Jordan Morrises are dead.
That guy's a bitch. I'll never respect him ever.
Look, man,
Ever.
I mean, I kind of get it, but like, have some fucking ambition. Go to an English-speaking country if you're that worried about it.
Your dog. I love that when Jones hammered him, it's just like he wanted to stay home with his dog. Well, his dad is the doctor of the team, but I think the big thing, and I think we as older sports fans don't really realize it when you think about it, is that a guy who's 23 or 24 or even 20 and kids are 15, they get that path opens. I think Pulisic becomes this legendary figure that they're all just following. They're like, oh, Christian did it. He went to Germany. He went there at 16 years old. Oh, I'll just do that. Right? It's this, I know it's gonna drive you nuts. It's that representation thing. Oh, there's an American that did it. I can do it. And then on the other side of it, there's the Germans who recognize it, right? They are so good about inefficiency. They're like, these kids are healthy, they're hungry, they're coachable, they're all middle class. They don't have to think about like anything like that. If I can get a hold of this incredible athletic young guy, I can make him into something, right?
I think that's the point, right? Like, they're moldable. They're extremely athletic. Like, they're just athletes, right?
Americans, that is what we have. We're athletic. Yeah.
We are, and in droves. And like you said, you don't have to worry about a kid who's going to be concerned for his surroundings or his background or whatever. The kid comes from a rich family.
Most of the time, yes.
Gio Reyna. Who is Gio Reyna's father?
Exactly. The GM of NYCFC, or he was.
Exactly. So, is there a little bit rich in the blood there? Of course.
Yeah, we're the best middle class. We're the best middle class team in the world.
Absolutely. But that's the thing, is that for the Jordan Morrises who were like, you know what, I'm just going to stay at home. These kids, once Pulisic did it, he blazed the trail. Yeah. And now everybody's going, I want a fucking piece of that pie too. What was his transfer total to Chelsea from Dortmund? Like 75, 80 million? Right? So, with that comes everything. Comes shirt sales, comes endorsements, comes a big, big deal. Right? Yeah. The United States of Pulisic was how the fucking team was known for like 2 years, and it's going to be, unless he's hurt all the time. But hopefully it won't be. Hopefully it's the Gio Reynas, the fighting Reynas, right? Or or the McKinney's at Juventus.
That's a big
clubs, man.
That's a big club.
Remember when Landon Donovan came over and Clint Dempsey played for Fulham and for Spurs, and Donovan had a loan spell at Everton, and he scored a goal one time, and every American soccer fan went, that was fucking amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, we would only play at Fulham and sort of fight our way through. Like, we were just like, but that was reflective in our play too. We were a 4-4-2, physical, athletic, good goalkeeper, keep it tight, hit him on the break, and score goals that way. Our best strength was our unity, right? Yes. And it's like we were a Tony Pulis side at the international level.
You know what? As much as this is going to bother me, we were Sean Dyche's team.
But, we were Sean Dyche's team. You can play that way. It's okay. In fact, the U.S. should probably still play that way. The problem is that in CONCACAF, we have to play like Chelsea. And then when we get out of CONCACAF, we have to somehow play like Dyche. So we almost need like two teams.
Well, and that's the problem, right? And that's why we had struggled recently, because we had an aging core. And the problem was that the talent wasn't there anymore.
But all of a sudden it's here. We have tons.
Right. And again, you touched on it. I want to go back to it. Full marks to the Germans who, like you said, are leading the world in finding inefficiencies and finding underserved markets and going, no. These guys can fucking run like deer. We're going to teach them how to kick the ball. And the fact is,
they can play. Like people make fun of MLS and academy systems and all this stuff. It's getting there. It just takes a long time. So like the infrastructure for teaching kids how to play properly is there. But now the next step is, how do you get poor kids to play? Like, how do they start to choose soccer over basketball, which is clearly, or football, right? Where where at 18 you take care of your family, right?
Our former boss, Michael Bramlage, had one of the most interesting takes on this I've ever seen. We do need to get him on the podcast, by the way.
I don't think he's watched sports in 10 years.
It doesn't matter.
He's still.
He said this about a billboard in Times Square. He said, You want to get players to stop playing basketball and football, specifically football, and getting them playing soccer. You put a billboard of Cristiano Ronaldo in Times Square. You write how much money he makes per year, how many years his career is, and just a smattering of the models he has had absolutely insane sex with. And you put it in the middle of
you do
fucking Times Square.
Or you do the Marky Mark in the underpants thing that he does on Instagram anyway. And just
sure. But what I'm saying is, it's not a marketing effort. It's not a marketing piece for underwear. It's a marketing piece for you can do this too, kid. Put the helmet down and pick up the cleats. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's just not cool. You know this. You grew up with it. Soccer's still not cool. It's getting there.
Getting there.
Yeah.
It's getting there.
Because all the other sports are getting less cool, right? Like NFL's pretty, I don't even watch it. It's got the political thing. It's a little bit.
Well, they've all got the political
and
thing
it can,
now.
but the NFL can only go down, right? It's so big, it can only shrink. Baseball, I mean, God love it. Baseball's so white, like it's just not getting any cool. Has no cool factor at all.
They're working on that. They're just
but they're
not
gonna
doing
have to
a good job.
And then I think the analytics in baseball has sort of stomped out any variation of play, which is now happening in the NBA. Also variation in play stomping out, like, oh, we're doing spread pick and roll and shooting threes. This is all well and good. It's efficient. It's fucking boring.
Yeah. That's the thing, is that like basketball and baseball have a lot of flair, believe it or not.
Yes.
But they're, like you said, they're stamping it out. So it's just, it's repetitive.
Or the inefficiency of the sport is stomping it out. Like, I think like soccer just has, especially for Americans, maybe Europeans feel this way about soccer, but because it's new to us, we're still like, it's so cool. But the games matter. They're fast, provided the fucking demon seed that is VAR doesn't destroy it. But I just think that we're such, I'm going to plug us. This is a cool podcast because who the fuck talks to weird Americans who are American sport obsessed, but also connecting to soccer and also like trying to like fuse the themes that are connecting to everything and making sure that people sort of get them, right? Like, you're like the biggest esoteric sport fan in the world. I'd like, it's still there. It's in me, but I haven't watched a baseball game in way too long, but I know what's going on. For instance, a man named Freddie Freeman won the MVP.
He did.
And he's not black.
He looks like he's a guest on.
He should be black. How is he not black?
Oh, he's so white. He's dad joke white.
And not only that, he plays for the Braves. Freddie Freeman on the Atlanta Braves should be a handsome, big, burly, super dark-skinned black dude with a mustache who's awesome. But he's not. He's the opposite of that.
He is no crime dog.
He should be fucking Mandingo Bukkake. God damn him.
So, speaking of really, really cool shit.
Sorry.
Right? That's where I'm going with this. Is we've had a bit of a renaissance of I guess Premier League also ran this year so far.
What do you mean?
Southampton.
Oh, right. Our guys.
At some point this past weekend was leading the league. They were top of the table for about an hour. But my goodness, have they had some absolutely captivating play. They currently sit in fourth place behind Leicester City, Spurs, and Liverpool. Now, again, just as a function of just playing earlier than them, right? So they've all played 8 games. Southampton is two points off the pace. They have beaten Leicester City, I believe. They got smacked by Tottenham in a game where actually they were dominating until Harry Kane kind of took over. They drew with Chelsea. They're and Everton, who we had been singing the praises of, they smacked the shit out of them. So when you look at them, you look at the way that they're playing and why they're excelling so far early part of the season, for the most part. It comes down to their manager, Ralph Hasenhuttl, who has instilled – he's looked at very similarly, and Laurent can speak to the style of play better than I could, but he's actually – his nickname is Alpine Klopp, right?
They also got their UEFA badges in the same class. So they're literally classmates.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And somebody asked him, a little bit about how Southampton has sort of crashed the party so far early in the season. He had one of the coolest quotes I've heard in a long time. He said, "We like to be the pirate, and it's more fun than to join the Navy. It's definitely something we can use every day, and it makes it fun to go and grab some points in the big teams.
Yeah.
He is likening playing the Chelseas and the Liverpools and the Evertons of the world
As being,
like you're pillaging their villages and taking their points and their women. That's fucking so cool.
So to be fair, they don't really have a signature win yet. They have the 4-3 versus Villa, which they almost lost. They were incredible.
I think Everton is a
Everton, but Everton had red card. The 3-3 draw with Chelsea was they were down 3 and came back.
Yeah.
They beat West Brom, they beat Burnley, and they lost to Palace. So they have 2 kind of bottom feeder. They beat 3 kind of, well, beating Newcastle is tough, but still. Just sort of give that context, right?
They're winning all the games. Well, most of the games they should.
We're gonna find out about them. 3 of their next, so they have Wolves, United, and Arsenal. Well, the thing is, United and Arsenal, Southampton should beat them.
Yeah. But I think diving into a little bit more about what's been making them go, right? Danny Ings had a phenomenal year last year. Probably one of the most underrated years in the Premier League in a long time.
Awesome.
Scored, I think, 25 goals.
Yeah, I mean, he's a top 6 striker whose knees are of relegation knees.
Right. He was came up in Liverpool, correct?
He was on Burnley and scored a shit ton of goals for them. Then moved to Liverpool.
Okay. Right.
And then blew out his knee twice.
And then blew out his knees. So he was a high-profile player.
That was identified by Klopp as a guy that he liked.
Yeah. Right. And yeah, just had a multitude of injury problems. Has found his game in the last year or so. He has gone down again, though. He is leading the team with 5 goals this year so far. He had what looks like a potentially bad ankle injury in the last weekend's game, which is tough, right?
Yeah.
The story about this team, though, doesn't end there because they're much more than a one-man band. In fact, he's not even the headliner anymore.
No.
We've sung his praises on this podcast once or twice before. James Ward-Prowse.
What a man.
He might be Beckham in disguise. He's phenomenal.
What's funny?
He is a wizard with a free kick.
He might be Beckham is not that good. He was overrated. He was handsome and he was on Man United, right? Exactly.
He's not as handsome. We both completely agree at that.
Yeah. No.
But no, he's been able to pick out a pass, and when you foul anyone on the team in a dangerous area, he's like it's almost as if like he's like Steph Curry with a wide open 3. You're like, that's going in the fucking net, dude.
Exactly. He's a legend.
Like, wow. Like who was it? It was against Villa. They had a handball right on the edge of the box, and the commentator before James Ward-Prowse even took the ball to line it up.
Yeah.
He went, "What the fuck did you do that for? That's a goal. That's going in the net." And he just scored a free kick 10 minutes earlier, and he did it. Bang.
The other great thing about James Ward-Prowse is that he's a bit of a bastard. He looks like Opie, but he's a bit of the bastard. He actually led Southampton in yellow cards, almost double what you would think. You would assumed that it was going to be Romeo or Højbjerg. No, it was Prowse with 9, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Right. That's what he didn't get any reds, but he's a tough motherfucker. He's Southampton through and through. I mean, since we've been really paying attention to the Premier League, he's been there. He's now in 2013. He started at 18. Like he's their guy. He's their Mark Noble without sucking.
He's a functional Noble. So he's the engine.
And the other piece is they just always seem to find a way to reload. I mean, it's been a while, it's dried up, but Van Dijk and Sané from Southampton.
Mane, yes, Mane.
Mane.
Yeah.
So incredible pipeline.
And Lallana too, I believe, right?
Lallana as well, yeah. And a bunch of, and Lambert who left, but a bunch of guys. Lovren came from Southampton. They all did.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Hey, he was there, man. He was. He was in the defense of a team that scored 100, that scored 98 points.
I think one of the things that's interesting, and when we were kind of going through our season preview very early on in the life of this podcast, I was not bullish on Southampton because I thought that losing Pierre-Emerick Højbjerg would hurt them.
Oh, I was like, they got this.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He's made a tremendous difference for Spurs. So, the only thing I think about is that, A, It's very impressive the job Romeu and the rest of the club around him has done to kind of bridge that gap.
Well, they always had Romeu. Like he was, they always had.
But also, you guys could have sold him for a lot more fucking money. Like he's really good still. Yeah. So that's the thing, is that like the strength of the team to lose a piece like that and still come through.
Well, I forgot about Wanyama, man. When he was fucking awesome too.
He loves spaghetti.
Fucking Victor Wanyama. He's somewhere. He's in Montreal or something.
Yeah, he's in Montreal now. Speaking of MLS, and Che Adams has really picked up the pace.
The thing is, again, in the absence of Ings. And the thing is like, what do I say this often? And it's when you get like deep into nerd, and you don't even have to go that deep. So, Mike, sorry, I jumped in just because Che Adams was a guy that I had flagged last year. Guys coming up from the championships, like really good strikers, who are young and in the championship, are usually a good bet. Like we talked about West Ham a while ago. Bowen, I had flagged. The guy had 20 goals by January for Hull, and when West Brom bought them, I was like, dude, that dude's awesome, and he was. I flagged Ollie Watkins. I was like, that guy scored 25 goals on an offensive team out of the championship, and lo and behold, he's the key piece for a flying Villa because they had the creator, right? They had Grealish. They needed somebody to finish. And now Che Adams had a 20-goal season for Birmingham City the season before, but he just didn't click. It took a while. He didn't get off the schneid. Now, to Hasenhuttl's credit, he stuck with him. He was making the runs, and you knew he was getting into place. He was just missing.
Yeah.
And Ings was picking it up. But I think they have a partnership, and it's weird to see a strike partnership these days because they just don't exist. Like, the idea of a team playing two strikers is weird.
Yeah, it's more winger based, right? And speed and counterattacking. But like, yeah, so even they had that partnership, but even in the absence so far of Ings, Adams seems to be playing a good understudy, and they haven't seemed to lost the pace. Now obviously coming out of the break, they're going to have, like you said, Wolves, United, and Arsenal within the first 6 games. So, and then City. So.
But they also play my guys Brighton, who are not looking great right now.
Well, yeah, but we're going to learn a lot about Southampton in the next.
Well, of course. I mean, listen, they're not going to be able to survive without Ings. Like, he's got to come back and be strong. But the thing that I was listening to several podcasts about our friend Mr. Hasenhuttl is when you watch Southampton, it feels super cohesive. Like, if you watch them often, you'll see the same patterns of play. And I recognize this watching a lot of Liverpool, watching a lot of City. The good teams play the same way all the time, where you start to not really care who's there. You just go, oh, they're going to do this, and they do it. These 3 guys in these 3 corners, they're going to work this angle, narrow it to that. Like, they have a way to play. So even with Ings out, they just slot in. And for shittier teams, like, we make fun of a guy like Theo Walcott, but Theo Walcott on Southampton is good, right? Yeah. It's all about context. Like,
hey, he's another one, by the way.
Yeah,
who came up.
Right, he came up through then Bale. But he can make the runs. His problem, of course, is going to be finishing. So they'll create the chances because they have a way to play that creates them chances. The thing is that that was different from all the other teams, and my beloved Brighton is they don't have that finisher, right? And City has the same problem right now up until when Gabriel returned. When you have a way to play and you're like, you know what? We're on the books for about 15 shots a game and 5 really good chances. We just got to get them done, right? And you have Ings who's getting them done. And they have a way to play in defense. They're organized. So, I mean, I think Hasenhuttl a little bit old. He's 53. So his next move will be his move, and then we'll see how he does, right?
Yeah.
Will he go take the Red Bull job when Nagelsmann leaves? That's one option. It's going to be tough to get one of the jobs in the Premier League. Like, he's the Everton type, but they've got Ancelotti, which is still fucking insane. You've got Chelsea with Frank. Frank would really have to fall apart. Liverpool, nobody's going anywhere. Tottenham, I don't think Jose is going anywhere. Leicester, unless Rodgers is like, I'm going to take the Real Madrid job. You're like, no, you're not. Okay,
right. He's stuck there for a while. Not stuck, but like he's in his perfect spot.
Yeah, I just can't see I think at this point, West Ham would be lateral for him. That would be one of those sort of like.
Yeah, definitely.
The only one I could see, and this is kind of a crazy one, is like, is Villa a big club? Could he take Villa?
If Villa's only a big club if they have the backing, right? Because I don't know that they could just as easily go down.
Here's the thing. Until they went down in 2014, they had never gone down.
Yeah, that's true.
And for the first half of Premier League history, they were in Spurs' spot. They were the other team.
Right. Yeah,
like there's teams that have been in that say like this big six. It wasn't a big six. It was three. It was United, Arsenal, Liverpool. Well, Liverpool to a lesser extent. It was a big two.
Right.
And the other slots, 4 through 6, kind of would move around. You'd be like, well, that team's there. That's bizarre. Newcastle was there for a little bit. And then it solidified with Chelsea. There was another one. Then another one for City. So that was a big 4. And now Liverpool, since Klopp, really, because they were kind of like, they would drop out. They wouldn't finish in Europe all the time. They would just be like, well, bye. And now we've got all these other teams. Sometimes Everton's up there. It's such a deep league right now. Although like old school Premier League fans are like, oh, there's no fight and hustle. I'm like, you know what? Shut up.
Yeah, I mean, we just spent 20 minutes talking about Southampton, right? Like that's kind of the point of how deep this league is, right? Like you can, we obviously have our biases in our teams, right? City and Spurs, but if you go through and you watch every single game, now you don't have to watch every single game, but like you can go through and enjoy specific things and teams and types of play, like you said, about Southampton, about Villa, about West Ham. I fucking hate West Ham, but God, they're pretty nice to watch.
No,
offensively.
My guys are. I can't with fucking Grealish. The goals they scored last week.
Yeah.
The playing around at the edge of the box. It was just like, you fucking dirty playing around the fucking Spice Boys. It was so good. I just was blown away, like watching the highlights, just going like, they fucking whooped Arsenal's ass.
Yeah, they did.
And like fucked with them. Like, oh, we're up 2? Let's score a good one.
Oh, you know what? Oh, the game's over? Nah, not till I say it is.
The run by Grealish is just, it was like watching a fucking freed unicorn wolf run with fucking rainbows running behind him. They tried to tackle him. He shrugs off the tackle, doesn't go down, lays it off to Watkins. And talk up a good looking, just fucking handsome. Like those guys are going out. I don't know what's going on in the middle, if the COVID is killing them or what the women look like in Birmingham. But those dudes, when they go out, something's happening. There's some magic happening, right? Grealish, Watkins, Barkley, not so much. But you got to see my guy Cash with the mustache and the hair. Oh, he looks like a D'Artagnan. It's the Three Musketeers. I can't handle them. I can't.
He's the drummer.
Oh, he's incredible. He's incredible. They're incredible. I can't. They're just Villa. I can't get enough of them. I just love them.
They're so great. But that's the point, right? You can find the Villas, the Southamptons, the Wolves. All of these teams have fantastic storylines.
What a man.
The Matty Cashes, the porn stashes of the Premier League.
Porn stash Matty Cash.
That's a great nickname. All right, we're taking that. Squeaky Bum Time Podcast is calling him Porn Stash Matty Cash from now on.
He might have. I think he's definitely got like some Caribbean grandparent, even though he's a white dude. He's got a flavor to him. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. Anyway, I love him. I love Villa. Anyone just love Villa today before they're gone tomorrow, because one day Grealish will be gone, and he'll like, you know what you want to talk about? Here's my dream for Villa. Okay, Villa, they hang around there. They kind of just push 10th. Spurs is kind of like a Mourinho just goes, not in a negative way. Kane is getting long in the tooth. He's going bald, and he's really just a 9 now. He's just in the box, and he can't really run anymore. And then him and Grealish hook up, and they're just connected to each other. And and Kane and Grealish in the whites. Forget it, with fucking a grown-up Grealish playing for Spurs.
You know what the most?
If they went down, he would have gone to Spurs.
Yeah, no, that's the most frustrating thing is that Daniel Levy balked at $25 million for him. Now it's going to be $125 million.
Because United's going to buy him, and he's going to He's going to look like an evil security guard in that red shirt like he's in Star Trek and get killed on the fucking mission on the planet. You know what? That's who Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is. He's so nondescript. He's literally the security officers in Star Trek who get killed.
I like it.
Like, he should not be the coach. He's completely forgettable, replaceable, stupid face. Like, I wish
stupid baby face.
Yeah, I just wish, like, sometimes you'd kind of wish, like, I wish, like, Stephen A. Smith could be in England, or, like, the Premier League could be covered, and just, like, what Stephen A. Smith would go in for on United. Like, just, can you see it? Can you see, like, Kellerman, Stephen A. Smith, like, doing, like, ghetto talk about United? It would be incredible.
Think about this.
Because we're not good at it.
Skip Bayless, Kellerman, Stephen A., everybody who talked about Jason Garrett as the Cowboys head coach for, like, fucking 5 years.
Right. It would be about United.
Yes.
It would be incredible.
Oh, that would be great. I'd watch ESPN again.
Yeah. Make ESPN great again. Is that Mega?
Yeah, it is.
I think we can't. We're done. That's it. We're done.
That's it. You're a racist now. That's it. You're.
What do you mean?
You're a fascist and a horrible person.
What did I do now?
You almost said MAGA. That's why.
No, I said Mega. No.
I know. Oh, I'm not saying that you're.
This is a free thinking zone. We can go MAGA. We can go LAGA. We can go commie. We can talk about Robespierre. We can We can go Weimar. We can talk about the Reichstag fire. Whatever you want. You want to do the uprising in Poland that was actually the communists killed them, not the Germans? We can do whatever you want. I got this.
You know what's amazing is that we have so much depth on this podcast that we have not even talked about, and we're not going to tonight because we got to get through the international break somehow.
Fucking international
Spurs
break.
Play City next.
I know. I had realized that later.
El Dushiko is coming.
We're just gonna have to do like an hour. I'm just gonna do an individual breakdown of every player on my team. They're like, hate him, love him, kill him, fuck him, out. I want no more fucking Riyad Mahrez and his little skinny fucking cut in on his foot.
No,
Pass the fucking ball.
Save it. We're gonna do a full hour on this on Monday for next week in preparation of El Dushiko, as we call it.
Classic.
Tottenham Hotspur, Mike Salerno versus Manchester City, Laurent Courtines.
Oh, it used to be real not in the face, but now it's not so much.
Yeah. Now it's up for grabs.
Because you got the fucking bullshit Champions League.
Yeah.
Cocksuck.
It changed everything.
VAR, piece of shit.
We'll get into it. We'll do all of it.
All right.
I'm excited. I'm really excited about it.
I'm stopping. That was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike Salerno and Laurent Courtines. This was a crap football, crap pundit production. We will return on Mondays and Thursdays for the Premier League season. We will talk about soccer and other things that interest us. Mike is crazy. Laurent is insane. That's why it works.